here again with Happily Ever Outdoors. Today I wanted to talk to you about Titan Survival's SurvivorCord. I just want to say thank you to Titan Survival for sending this product out to us for our testing and review. I need to let you all know that although I did get this product at no cost to me in exchange for my unbiased opinion, I am not a paid representative of the company, so any opinions that I express or statements that I make in this video are my own. Alright guys, so what is Titan Survival's SurvivorCord? Simply put, it is paracord taken to a whole nother level. Seen here, we have their dragon scale pattern. It comes in a whole bunch of different colors and patterns on their website, and currently you can get 100 feet for $21.98. This is much less than 100 feet. I'm not sure exactly how much this is right now because I have been cutting off of this. I've been using it and testing it thoroughly. So I'll go ahead and throw up a picture of what it looks like in the full bundle. One of the first things that I like about this paracord is that they send you a nice large quantity to work with. 100 feet is enough that you can really get some projects done. And I like the fact that they have the included Velcro retention strap with the buckle on there, you can see. So as you use your paracord, you can go ahead and tighten this up. Keeps it in a nice, neat bundle that's easy to work with. So I really like that. That's a nice little feature that they added, taking care of their customers right there. Very smart. So what exactly makes SurvivorCord different from traditional paracord? Well, I've actually broken a section down for you right here. You can see the outer casing, which is pretty standard, what you would see on paracord right there. Next we have the inner strands. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 inner strands. Now this strand is the same as the rest. It just has a red line twisted in there. That is supposed to be like their manufacturer's identifying strand. I think it's to help weed out in case you've got any knockoffs out there. You know, that's something you can identify that it's the real deal. Now each one of these strands is 3 strands of braided nylon. So you can imagine, just like any other paracord you'd buy in the market, that's going to make this super, super strong when it's all combined together, but it's also going to give you a ton of cordage to work with when you break this thing down. So again, you get these 7 individual 3-strand nylon braids in there. On top of what you would traditionally expect from paracord, it has 3 additional strands, and this is where it gets really interesting. First up, we'll take a look at the monofilament fishing line that is included inside this paracord. This stuff is a single transparent line with a 25-pound test on it. This is going to be perfect in a survival situation if you ever had to rig up some kind of fishing gear. The fact that you have this included is huge, huge right here. This could make a huge difference in a survival situation. So really awesome to have that included. Next, we'll take a look at the waxed jute line that is included inside of this paracord. This stuff is amazing tinder. Jute is going to burn very well, very easily. Obviously, it's going to be very dry, but the fact that it's waxed is what it's going to allow it to burn slower and longer. I've actually got a lighter right here so you guys can see. And that's going to burn just like a candle. So very, very good tinder material right there. So once again, fishing line included as well as tinder. Last up, it also has an included copper snare wire. This is their proprietary copper alloy, and it's supposed to be 351 pascals in strength. It's conductive and it's non-magnetic. So you could use this thing to make small snares. You could use it as a conductive wire, as an antenna, or many, many other bushcraft survival, even urban survival situations. Having this copper wire built in could really, really come in handy. So in terms of functionality, this stuff just made me happy even testing and reviewing it. it's great. I mean, I don't even know what else to say. The fact that you've got everything you would get with traditional paracord, as well as fishing line, wax jute, tinder, and copper wire in there is just insane. I have noticed when using this to rig up certain setups, I think it has a slightly bigger girth maybe than traditional paracord does, which is pretty easy to understand considering you've got 3 additional lines in there. So depending on what you're rigging it up to, maybe a knife or something like that, I've had a few where it has a hole that's kind of pre-made for paracord, and this paracord's a little bit tight going through there because of those extra lines that are in there. However, this stuff is awesome in terms of functionality. Everything in here does exactly what it's meant to do. You've got good quality fishing line here. You've got amazing fast burning tinder, and the copper wire is also very, very strong for being as small of a diameter wire as it is. Everything about this works just like traditional paracord. You're just going to cut it to length, and then what you'll want to do is take the outer casing and you'll kind of pull that down a little bit by squeezing the line and kind of rubbing it down, and then you can melt the end of that with just a regular lighter. All of these cords in here, by the way, they will melt, not so much burn, so you can melt the end of them to go ahead and seal them up as well, depending on what you're using them for, to make sure that they don't fray. But that's the best way you can work with this stuff, just like regular paracord. Only thing I ran into is you do have that copper wire in there which doesn't melt. So if you don't pull that outer casing down enough and melt it, be careful when you're melting it, that copper wire could stick out, and you might have to kind of bend that down and stick it into the melted material before it hardens, or you might have to snip it off with a small pair of dikes or something like that. But nothing that's hard to work around, nothing I found that was really inconvenient or that hurt the functionality of the paracord. You'll just want to make sure you don't have that copper wire sticking out, especially depending if you have it rigged into a bracelet or something like that, where it might rub against your skin. Now when it comes to paracord, one of the first things I'm sure some of you are going to say, that's all great, but why would I want to just carry a bundle of cord around with me when I go hiking, things like that? It's extra weight and it's not really good for a whole lot of things. Well, it is good for a few things, such as rigging up lines for a hammock, maybe hanging up a tarp, hanging up a clothesline, a good replacement for shoelaces, things like that. So it does have usefulness in its raw form, just like this. However, like you said, or like you're thinking, most people aren't going to want to just carry a big bundle of paracord around. So you've got to figure out ways to make it useful, and so you can carry it on your person. People do all kinds of stuff. Obviously, you see paracord bracelets, paracord necklaces. Replacing your shoelaces is definitely one method I recommend to carry paracord, because you get 2 very long continuous lengths of cord, which gives you all those unbroken inner strands, maximizing the functionality. And the best part is that if you do have to use that cordage in a survival situation, you can cut the ends, break it down completely, and still use the outer casing to replace your shoelaces, and it's going to work just as well. It's still going to be really strong, and you won't lose the laces on your shoes. So definitely one of my little survival tips, something I recommend everybody doing. Replace your shoelaces with paracord. You can't lose on that one. The next method is actually really popular, it's easy to do, and it's a great way to carry a lot of cordage. I'll give you an example of paracord wrapping. Right here I have my Condor Crotalis. This is a pretty large bushcraft style knife right here. You can see what I've done. I went ahead and wrapped a good part of the sheath. What's nice about this is it does not interfere with the functionality of the sheath at all. This is the sheath that's made to be modular, to be able to pull it apart. And the way I've wrapped it, I've been able to put a good length of cord on here without compromising the way the sheath works at all. Didn't really add a lot of extra weight to it, and it actually looks pretty cool. And then when you're done, you can see how I finished this thing out, because this sheath does have a little bit of a frame that I could work with. I just pulled it through, knotted it, melted the ends, and so if I did need to unsecure this cordage to use it, all I would have to do is cut that end and begin unraveling it. So really cool, really easy way to add some cordage. Another one is with braiding. This is very much the same as like you would do with the paracord bracelet. Pretty common. You see this here, and I just braided it around the end of the handle. It's got a hole built in there for a lanyard, and that gives me another good length of cordage to work with. This is basically a wrist wrap lanyard. I use this knife for heavier bushcraft tasks, doing a little bit of chopping, things like that. So it gives you that functionality of you've got something for your wrist or to hold on to your wrist so this knife doesn't slip when you're using it for heavier tasks like that. But you've also got all of that cordage built into your knife right here. So between the two of these, I would say I have probably about 20 foot of cordage on here, between 15 and 20. I'm not sure exactly, but the point is I was able to carry all of that cordage. So not only do I have all of those strands of paracord, I've got that outer casing that I can use for a lot of different things. I've also got that fishing line, that wax jute, and that copper wire all built into it. This is something that I didn't add anything extra that I have to carry in my kit. It's built into something that I would already bring with me on a lot of trips out in the woods, and didn't add a whole ton of weight either. So paracord wrapping is definitely a cool way to go, along with making accessories out of paracords, bracelets, belts, things like that. There's a lot of different ways you can get that cordage out for you, and in a worst case scenario type situation, one of the most valuable things you can have is good cordage. Next to that, a way to catch food. You've got the fishing line as well as the snare wire. Also, starting a fire. Good tinder built right into this line. So as long as you have some kind of a ferro or a lighter, something to get a spark started, you've got all of the basics really that you need right here to take care of some of your primary needs in a survival situation. So all in all, I am a huge fan of Titan Survival's SurvivorCord. This stuff is great. I come from a military background, so I already know all about paracord. We love this stuff. This just takes it up like 3 more notches. The additional lines that they put in there, the fact that it has that fishing line as well as that wax jute and that copper wire, just makes this stuff amazing. I mean, I'm thinking of all kinds of stuff that I want to wrap this up with, all kind of lanyards I want to make. I'm thinking about making a belt, anything I can think of to get this cordage on my person when I'm out in the woods. It's that great. It's comfortable in terms of the outer material. It feels good against your skin, and it's awesome knowing that all of those survival essentials are built into that cordage. It's there, it's convenient, you don't think about it until you need it. But when you need it, this stuff's gonna come through. This is a high quality product, really well designed. I can confidently say that this product gets the HEO seal of approval. Great stuff. This concludes our review of Titan Survival's SurvivorCord. Feel free to leave your comments and questions below. Make sure you subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to look us up on Facebook, Twitter, and our blog. Thanks for watching.